Good evening, lovely spirits. Good morning is what I mean to say. I'm sitting here watching the snowfall, and it's an interesting thing. If you look at snow under a microscope, each flake has its own shape. No two flakes of snow is the same shape, yet they're all one and the same. It's a deep thing. It's truly a deep thing, but I want to do this video for you guys called L.O.G.I.C. That's L.O.G.I.C. And this is a program that I want to get started called L.O.G.I.C. And what L.O.G.I.C. stands for is living off grid in cities. As y'all know, in today's times, a lot of people are speaking about living off grid. You know, because the system kind of charges us for everything. And you know, everything we buy is truly free. It's just a matter of you having an understanding of resources, the natural resources of the land. So the city has its stresses and strains. So many people speak about living off grid. You know, buying themselves some land and just, you know, living life free how it's supposed to be. Now, when you're dealing with living off grid, it is a good thing and you do get your freedom, but there are some inconveniences that do emerge with living off grid. Now, the city, it has its stresses and strains, and it's all bad. You know, you're charged for every aspect of every piece of life. Even in the city, you pay for water, so is it deep. But you do have a convenience in the city that you don't have off-grid. Meaning, if you're off-grid and let's say you're 20 miles from a nearby city and you run out of toilet paper, you'd be wiping your ass with grass. So it's simple things like this that's overlooked in living off the grid. You know, toilet paper, somebody may get injured really bad where you need a doctor or a hospital and you're like 20 miles from the nearest one. And so this is what I mean by inconveniences. Now, you know, when you're living off grid, as time goes by, you'll be able to sustain yourself in every aspect. Meaning, if you need a doctor, I'm sure you'll have someone in your community that has that talent. But in the building process, you know, you will come across these inconveniences. And this is what make a lot of people just say, I'm done with this off the grid stuff. It's supposed to make life better, but this is harder. But it's a deep thing. It's truly not harder. Well, it is, but this is why I have this program I want to start called L.O.G.I.C. Living off grid in cities, where you pretty much take all the benefits of living off the grid and you merge them with the convenience of the city. Now, how do you do that? It's simple. Every city in America has forest land all around it and within it. I live in New York City. We have many big parks like Central Park, Prospect Park, and there's just so much uninhabited land, forest land, grassland. It's just not being used. If you're riding on the highway, miles and miles of uninhabited forest. So this is what I mean by living off grid in cities. Now, a person could go, let's say, deep into any forest in their city, 3-4 blocks deep into the forest, build themselves up a house or whatever. You know, if you have this knowledge, who can stop you? Most Mexicans can do this right now, and who can stop them? Go deep into the forest. Our city does not truly deal with its forest. The city only deals with the areas that they're building in. So we have miles and miles of forest land within the city that is not being used. So there's no one that checks up on these spots. And you could actually live out there, steal your lights or whatever, your electricity from the city, Because they don't check these things. In certain areas that's not being occupied, or that's not supposed to be, because most people in the cities don't go in the forest. Why would they? And it's a deep thing. You could go out there still living how you live now, but just to test it out and go out there and build yourself a one-bedroom house, small one, and grow you some food and things out there, and seclude your area in the forest and just watch how long it's just there. Nobody will know. And you'll realize, like, damn, I could have been living there free all this time. But it's the fears that the city puts on us. So most people will be scared to do that. They like, I do that, and they find out, and then I'm out of my own crib, and it's a deep thing. But they can't take knowledge from you. There's always forest. You can always rebuild. It only takes a week, depending on how many people you have in your community. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, we're not taught this kind of knowledge in school. We're not taught how to get the natural resources from the forest and make fabrics and sew them. You don't really get taught that in school. You're not taught how to build your home. I mean, you can go to college and learn this. But, most people don't have the knowledge of building themselves a home. So, tippy style, hut style, building, shipping containers, there's many different aspects to building a home that's not really utilized in today's times. So, this is what I want to start this program for. This is what I've been trying to get land for. To turn it into like a school or a haven where we can learn things that they don't necessarily expose to us. Most of our kids have no idea that the clothes they wear come from the resources in the life, meaning the animal skins, the cotton plants, the different, I lost my train of thought, but the kids don't realize that their clothes come from the natural resources in the life. They don't realize the dyes and things like this come from plants, the medicines we have. Plants. I'm not talking about the medicines that's like manufactured. Not the, what do we call them? I forgot the exact name we call them. Not supplements. That's fake too, but we call our medicine that's not real medicine. I forgot the exact term, but prescription drugs. This is not real medicine. This is like manufactured from the real. But I want to teach the things they don't teach in school, like how to smelt metal and the different properties that metal hold and how they're receptive and certain metals are not receptive. It's like with energy. We have to understand when you're dealing with energy, we get lost in the names, negative, positive, and proton, neutron, electron, and we get lost in that. But energy is a simple thing. With all energy, you have two. Receiving and giving, and this is how energy works. So the plug in the socket, the plug won't go in a plug. So this is what I mean by giving and receiving, and this is how the energies are. So it's the same with man and woman. Man is the giving energy, and the woman is the receiving, and this all boils down to darkness and light. Light is a giving energy. It is a projecting energy. And darkness is a receptor. It's a receiving, a taking energy. So in the daytime, the sun pushes off rays that you receive. Your dark body takes in these rays from the sun. That positive and negative attraction, that giving and receiving, the two energies. You're the receiving, the darkness, and the light is the giving. And then when the sun leaves, the great darkness does what it does. It receives. So at night, all people, you can look this up, it's a science fact, at night all people give off energy. In the daytime, they receive it in, but at night, they kind of give off energy. And it's because at nighttime, that energy that the sun pushed in us, the great darkness, which is the receiving energy, is taking it from us. So the darkness is feeding on what the sun provided us in the day. But like I said, all energy just boils down to giving and receiving, projection and reception. And it's a deep thing. It's like a man. His penis rises like the sun, and it falls into the vagina, which is darkness. And it's a giving and receiving of two different energies. And the woman's is the receiving, the darkness. The womb, the vagina, is the portal into the darkness. The vagina is the portal into the womb, the darkness, the space. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. It's not a matter of looking at it as good and bad, positive and negative, and good and bad, and getting lost into that whole physical perspective of things. Because good and bad is a matter of perspective. Night is good tonight, and day is good today. And it's a deep thing. Dark things view the dark as good, and you can't tell a man sitting in the dark is not better than sitting in the light. I mean, for him it is. So this is what I mean by good and bad. Don't get lost in that when I say women are the negative, are the dark energy, which is the receiving, and men are the positive, or the giving energy. Whatever I say, you can see it in the life. Women expect men to take care of them, give to them. It is not reviewed in reverse. So when I say what I say, it's the truth. And it shows in the life. Even if you want to look at it as good and bad, what we view as good in life, in this physical existence, and what we view as bad, it still all correlates to what I just said. Women bring the negative, the darkness, to the life. The life will always continue to manifest itself how it is. You got light energy and dark energy, and it's manifesting itself, condensing itself into the physical things you see. The dark light, the dark energy, the light energy emerges. But they still become what they are. So you can never get lost, and it all boils down to receiving and giving. One energy is receiving, one is giving, lest they wouldn't be able to go together or commingle. Men and women are able to go together because of this. See, if one energy is spinning this way, and the other energy is spinning that way, then they can go together. It's like when you twist the thing together. One hand is going one way, that's how they go together. The opposite spin. It's deep, right? I know you're like, damn, I never thought about that. When you screw a screw into a nut, you screw the nut one way, the screw the other. This is how they bind. If you screw the nut and the screw the same way, it'll never go together. The energies manifest, like I said, into every aspect of the life. Light and darkness. Negative, positive. Receiving and giving. And this all boils down to, oh my God, I just orgasmed in myself. Oh my God, this shit crazy. Oh shit, I'm sorry, y'all. It's in my ear. Oh my God. No semen spilled. When a man is about to ejaculate, you get this crazy feeling. I just got it. Oh my God. Gotta get myself together. Oh shit. Damn, I'm sorry, y'all. I forgot what I was just talking about. The energies. That was crazy. I'm trying to shake it off so I could finish the video, I feel crazy. But yeah, the nuts and the screws, they bind together because the different directions of the energy. One energy is spiraling one way, the other is spiraling the other. This is how the duality of the life is able to bind itself together. So it's a deep thing. This is why women, their sexual organ goes in. So just imagine the vagina as what it is, which would be energy. Now imagine that energy spiraling inward into her. The man's energy is spiraling outwards, going forward, and hers is going inward, and this is how they are able to merge, because it's like the screw and the nut. The vagina is spinning this way like the screw, and the penis is like the nut. Not the nut, but the vagina is screwing this way like the screw. Like the nut, the bolt. And the penis is like the screw, and it's screwing the opposite way. And this is how it all merges. You will always see this in a life. This is why male and female is that way. Now, if you view it in life perspective, you will clearly see what I'm saying. Women are the negative, the dark energy, the receiving energy. Men are the light, are the positive energy. It gives. Now, if you're confused on that, darkness pulls energy from the light. This is why when the sun rises, we receive the rays from it, the dark flesh. Now, when the sun goes, that darkness up above is darker than us, and it pulls that energy. The darkness always pulls. It's a receiving energy. If you're confused when it boils down to the physical men and women, women receive the penis. It's dark inside the vagina. Grasp. The penis goes in. It's giving. Even in our society, men are to give to women. You take care of your mama, boy, when you get old. And grasp. The life don't lie to you. That's why I tell you, you got to learn from the life. The life don't speak in words, so you can never be misled. It's all on your morality. That's how life is simple. I show you what you need to know. All you need is morality so you can read what I'm showing you. If you don't have morality and balance of self, you're going to see a thing from a selfish nature. You say, man, I'm a woman. I don't care what he's saying because negative is bad and it is what it is. And that's what it is. It's a deep thing. I also did a video. I want to just do this quick thing right quick where I broke down that the egg cell is the body. A recent video I did, and Brothers Get Lost, I said the egg cell is all of what the body becomes. What's inside the shell of an egg, all that yolk, the egg, that is all the materials of what the body becomes. And the sperm is nothing more than the spirit, the conscious, in that body. So the brother got lost for some reason, and he said, no, you wrong, because there's chromosomes, and you get half the DNA from the man, and you get half the DNA from the woman, and that's what makes the body. Now grasp. I said everything in the egg is what makes that's the materials, the physical materials that make the body. I ain't talk about DNA. Semen is DNA. Grasp. I said the sperm is the spirit. He's confused. Well, if that's the case, then how did the man get his half of the DNA? Semen. Retarded. He thinks semen and sperm is the same thing. It's a deep thing, but You get man's DNA from the semen. It's a simple thing. Everything the body is, the materials that the body is, the flesh, the blood, the bone, all of this is what's it. You can get a chicken's egg. All that's within the shell, that is all the materials of that body. Grass. It looks yellow, and so does the goddamn chicken. And everything within the yolk is all the materials, the physical materials, to become the body. When the rooster shoots the sperm in there, there's no physical bodily materials to become the body. It is just the charge and energy to get that flowing. Now, when a baby's born, and you get the DNA from the baby, and it's half man and half from the woman, don't forget the semen. The semen is the DNA of the man. The sperm cells are within that semen. So that's how you get the DNA of the man within the physical body. But grasp, all the materials that become the body is in the egg. So you have to grasp, the egg is the body. The sperm is the spirit. The chromosomes have nothing to do with that. I know scientists say that, but we have to grasp. Scientists are just observing life, and they're just explaining it in their perception of what they think it is. They're not telling y'all anything. This is where y'all get lost. Like scientists don't etch nothing in stone. They're just telling you, this is the observation, and this is what we conclude. We conclude you get 23 chromosomes from the male and 23 chromosomes from the woman, and these come together, and this is how you get the DNA. But in all reality, the chromosomes merging is just the connection. It's connecting the spirit to the body, the sperm cell to the body. You know the sperm cell is separate from the egg cell, so it has to lock in some kind of way. This is not make-believe. What do y'all think? The spirit's just floating around the body like, ah. No, it's locked in. Like anything, when you got a device, a remote, the battery got to lock in. It can't just be floating around so you got to grasp. The chromosome is the connection. 23 to 23, locked in. It really don't got nothing to do with the DNA. I mean, the chromosomes is the DNA of them both. So you got to grasp. The spirit is locking into the body, but the spirit is covered in that semen, the juices. So you know, you're going to have the DNA on the chromosome structure. That's why you got DNA and everything on the body. Let the nigga, that should be so you got to grasp. But the chromosomes ain't like, y'all view things weird. I don't even know how to explain it because y'all perspective is all cloudy. So I'm trying to help him grasp, but he not even really making sense in what I was saying. I wasn't saying nothing about DNA. I was talking about the physical body. What's in the egg, that is the physical body. All that egg. Just ain't developed into the limbs and things, but the materials of what your body is, the blood, the bone, the sulfur, all that, it's all in the egg. And the same materials is within the semen. So right. It's a deep thing. But the semen don't become the body. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. Ain't no blood in semen. But the egg cell is a product of the blood of the woman. Your blood, your bones, your veins. Motherfucking eggs got veins. Boil a goddamn egg. Shit, real. Y'all got life messed up. But the blood, the bone, every aspect of your physical body lies within that egg. That yogi, that's all of that. Just waiting to get the energy to power it into manifestation. So it's a deep thing y'all gotta grasp, but your blood has nothing to do with your father. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. You and your father has the same blood type and it match. And that's because the semen, which holds the DNA of the man, merges with all that blood. The spirit merges with the body. The semen looks like light fluid. Grasp this. The semen has a fluorescent light glow to it. If you look at it, blood is dark. It dries dark. It's clay. Light and darkness, the merging, the blood and the semen. It's a deep thing, but this is how you get the DNA of your father mixed into the body. So just view the egg as the physical body. And the spirit is coming from your father. And it's holding the DNA from the father it's coming from. Because that semen is what's keeping the sperm cells alive till they get the egg. And all of that is the DNA of the man. Now the chromosomes within the sperm cell and the chromosomes within the egg cell, they just lock one another in, condensing. So it's like I said, the astral, the gas is condensed. The physical but not completely physical life, the spirit life, the astral, semen, sperm cells, it's astral, physical but not fully physical. You can barely grasp the sperm. You can barely grasp the semen. You can forget about grasping the sperm. You're not going to ever do that. So this is what I mean by it's astral, spirit. Not completely physical, but somewhat physical when these two merge and condense, and that's how you get the physical, the condensing energies. But it's a deep thing, and this video has completely turned to a whole nother video. But in any event, the L.O.G.I.C program, this is basically what I wanted to do. I'm going to have to come back and do that video completely over. But for the most part, I think y'all grasp where I'm going with it. I just want to, people slaved out in this life. It's so deep, man. We grind so hard to become more enslaved. Everything we got enslaves us, man. From every piece of, that's why it's deep. Every piece of material thing we have, it has this stress attached with it. Man has 5 homes, he has the stress of those 5 homes. It's just deep. A man has a bunch of clothes, he has to clean all them clothes and keep up with them clothes, and everything becomes a responsibility. The more possessions a man has, the more enslaved he becomes to his materials, and he has to work to keep up with those materials. And this is where the slavery kicks in, because the system feeds off that. They feed off of what a man wants, knowing that a man does not have his own access to the resources. Kill him with the slavery. We work for what we want, as opposed to working the land for the resources to make what we want. For self, less work, more freedom. Men die fast because of work. It's deep. I did a video called The Real Reason Why Men Die Early. Watch that. I explain how work cut off 4 months off every year of your life. That's why you die like 80, 65 and 80. It's cold-blooded. But living off grid in cities, a L.O.G.I.C program. Hopefully tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I'm hoping by 2018 sometime. I ain't gonna even say I'm hoping, because it's so deep, man. It's all on me. In 2018, hopefully, I don't even want to say hopefully, because it ain't a matter of hope. It's just a matter of me actually taking some time out of my day and finding some land. And then the life will provide that land for me. It's so cold-blooded. I just ain't looked for no land yet. I look at land all the time, but I never actually looked and the perspective of I'm getting that. I just look to see, like, if they donate, then I'm gonna take the money and get one of these lands. So I just look at different lands, but I didn't commit in conscious, like, yo, you know what, I'm getting this land right here. I'm going ahead. The life won't provide it. So it's a deep thing. But in 2018, I want to get that program up and running, man. Logic, living off grid in cities, so people begin to just learn better. And like, even if you live in housing projects, there's so many grassy areas within your projects. Begin to utilize that to teach yourself. And in summertime, y'all get out there with the kids and buy seeds and grow and show them. Listen, man, you ain't got to waste all your money. We gonna grow apples, oranges, and things like this, and y'all can use those things and make little smoothies instead of going to the Arab store and doing it, cause they don't care about y'all. They wouldn't buy nothing from y'all. And just start to pull the self-sustain self and learn. And that's the main thing, because the more we know, the less enslaved you become, or at least you have the option to adjust it how you need necessary to benefit yourself. And that's the main thing that matters. We got the cities and we got the system here. And until people all come together, that's going to be here. And then you got off the grid, and that has its inconsistencies with it too, being as though the city is how it is. But, you know, you got to just merge between the two and figure out a way to float between the two. If you got the proper amount of knowledge, you can float between the two, getting the benefits out of both and just fulfilling your whole life until the meanwhile. So it's just a deep thing, man. The system got everybody going against everybody. They don't see it. And that's what the status does. When you get a job, you got the supervisors, the managers, then you got the owner. And this is all a status, and it puts people above one another, even though they truly have no true glory for self. The manager is still a worker of the owner. The supervisor, he's still a worker. He's under the manager. But he's consistent with that because he gets to rule over the regular employees. And this is what I mean by the system just puts everyone against one another. And they do that through a thing called status. See, a ruler understood at some point in time, I can't just rule over the masses alone. I have to give other people aside from myself rulership duties as well, lest they'll all come against me. So this is how you get the government structure, where you have many different forms and levels of rulership, and it's just like a job. The owner's over the manager's over the supervisors are over the employees. And we all know the employees, they are the worst. They get the less. They work the hardest, get the least. And it's a deep thing. With that status structure, this is how the whole thing works. Because the supervisor's content, even though he knows I'm a slave to the manager and the owner. But I have all these employees under me, so I just treat them like shit to make up for when I get treated like shit. So it's just a deep thing. The man that's treated like shit by his boss at work, he comes home and abuses his power and beats up his wife and his kids. And life is deep the way it just transfers over from one thing to the next. And it's deep. But I want to get this program. I guess I'll have to come back and do this video another time. But it's the wise servant here, Mr. Sowers. Peace and wisdom.